I knew Mark was going to bring the energy on that last panel. It's great to be here. My name is Marty Martinez, and I'm the CEO of Social Revolt Agency. We're a digital advertising agency that specializes in helping brands unlock the potential of the Hispanic market. It's an honor to be here with my colleagues, and and whenever I'm in this building, I'm really struck by the significance of the work that we do. As a son of immigrant farm workers, now sitting in the headquarters of the United Nations, I'm humbled by the opportunity to speak here and reminded why we're all here. And that's to empower a community and to expand access to the kind of opportunities that we've all been fortunate to enjoy. And with that, we're going to be talking about how corporations can do their part to make a meaningful difference in the community and their businesses by engaging holistically with the Hispanic community. And we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. Patricia is the CEO of HACE. She's also an entrepreneur, speaker, and author. Patricia, you spent a lot of time working with corporations to improve their hiring practices. What are some of the ways you've seen corporations effectively foster diversity and inclusion within the organization, specifically focusing on engaging and empowering the Hispanic community?
Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Claudia and team, for the invitation to join you all today. I'm proud Latina, Mexican-American, daughter of immigrants, first-generation college graduate and professional, and I have the honor to lead an organization that's my personal mission to help advance Latinos through HACE, the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement, as its president and CEO. And we work with about 250 corporate partners across the country, and since HACE has been around since 1982, the missions remain the same. It's how we deliver on that, as you can imagine, has evolved over time, where the last 15 years we became more program-focused, cohort model training and development to help individuals get to the next level in their career education. And the last 3 years, as you may imagine, going into e-learning and virtual platforms, which has scaled in our reach across not only the nation, but globally as well, since the companies that we work with are global. And the most successful corporations that we've worked with, and they're not only working with HACE, but they've built a holistic approach in the sense that they are strategically engaging with the community, building the pipeline of talent. So through recruiting efforts, it's not just post a job, let me connect with talent, but they're doing a concerted effort in their own backyards, meeting with students in the schools, the high schools, elementaries, ensuring that their workforce, their employees are going in those communities. And then actively recruiting from entry-level to senior-level talents. But two, in addition to recruiting, they're ensuring that their employees are engaged. We saw the Edelman Trust Barometer. Latinos, we want to be trained, we want to be developed. We value our employers when they do support us and they sponsor us to go through leadership development training. And so the companies that we work with that are actively sending their employees to training, and not just any training, but culturally relevant, intentional training that helps build comunidad, that helps us unleash our authentic selves, being proud, going into the workplace and say, yo soy de Mexicana, I'm de Colombia, Puerto Riqueña, so on, because leadership development, we don't become effective leaders until we unleash our true authentic selves. And that self-discovery process, that's part of the playbook, right, for A La Latina, is done through programs like our Mujeres de HACE, through Elevando, leadership training that helps build that model. In addition to the trainings, we've just had some amazing entrepreneurs. They're building that supplier diversity. They're ensuring that they're having access to that talent pool. And they're using the data, right? They're engaging their ERG groups to ensure that they are connecting the impact back to the business and ensuring that they're leveraging that talent pool. Last thing I do want to say, in this time and age where DEI initiatives are being challenged for various initiatives, we may or may not be aware of the affirmative action and what happened with SCOTUS. In these corporations, there's nothing illegal about saying diversity, saying Latino, saying Black. I ask our corporate partners, our employers, those that whether we're partnered with, that they double down. If you double down and you commit to this community, we saw the stats, we see the data, it's a business and it's an economic imperative to ensure that we do, and we're all advocates here, so using the data and leveraging that effectively through your ERG groups and throughout the year to ensure that we're making that impact. Thank you.
Pepe, as the Director of Public Affairs at Walmart, from your perspective working inside a company as large as Walmart, could you share examples of successful collaborations between corporations and Hispanic community organizations?
Sure, happy to. I'll call out three examples, if you will. One is very local, and we're housed in Northwest Arkansas, and a few of our vendors are housed there, like Procter & Gamble. So with Procter & Gamble and a local organization, we started in 2019 a program called Latin XNA Northwest Arkansas. That program is focused on making sure that we're not only retaining the talent that's produced in our community, because we have 2 school districts in our backyard that are pretty much 50% Latino. The goal is to retain that talent, but also to expose the current corporate talent at Walmart, at Tyson Foods, at J.B. Hunt, at Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, the vendors that work in our community, to mentorship opportunities, to sponsorship opportunities, and to professional development that would allow them to access not only board positions with nonprofits, but with corporate organizations as well. So that program is really going strong, started in 2019, and the sky is the limit for that program, so I appreciate Procter & Gamble's support. The other program that I'll call out is Project Gigaton. Project Gigaton is a program started by Walmart with the goal to eliminate a gigaton of greenhouse gas emissions from the supply chain. And that program involves vendors of ours, non-vendors, vendors like Procter & Gamble, like Coca-Cola and others, as well as NGOs. Our goal, like I said, is by 2030 to eliminate 1 billion metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions from the supply chain at a global level. To date, we're 75% there. Thank you. Thank you.
Monica, I know
and
you...
the last one,
oh,
just
sorry.
want to call out one more if you don't mind. This is a partnership that we were called to the table for this partnership by Unidos US. It was a partnership with them, with the CDC, with the March of Dimes, with the Spina Bifida Association, and a couple of other organizations. Unidos determined that there was a high incidence in the Latino community of babies born with spina bifida or neural tube disease. And that had to do with the fact that the diet is heavily based and influenced by cornmeal. And at the time, cornmeal was not fortified with folic acid, which is a form of vitamin B. So we started the project in 2006. The project took 10 years. It took us 10 years to get the FDA to approve the voluntary inclusion of folic acid in cornmeal products in the United States, which was an amazing quest. Then, not happy with that, we did a science-based research. So in 2018, we published a paper in a peer-reviewed journal. And the paper, we demonstrated with this research that because of that project, every year, there are 40 Latino babies on an average year that are born without having to deal with a neural tube disease. So those are 3 examples of partnerships that I wanted to share with you, Michael.
And Monica, I know you spend a lot of time looking at trends and trying to predict the future. No easy task. How do you see corporations navigating the challenge of creating long-term, sustainable relationships with the Hispanic community beyond the short-term initiatives?
Well, hi everybody. My name is Monica Penagos. I'm with Procter & Gamble. Thank you very much for being all here, and thank you for organizing this. So on the question about long-term, I love the theme on data earlier today, because if we step back a little bit from Hispanics only and we look at multicultural, and we look like multicultural in a broad sense, like the last 10 years of growth on the US are all 100% multicultural, okay? And just in the last year, half of the growth of P&G comes from multicultural, okay? So for us, it's not a nice to have, it's an imperative to have. When 50% of your growth comes from multicultural, and a large portion of that is Hispanic, it is the way forward of the future. So let me give you an example, as others have given an example. we partner, we are all human a couple of years ago, and we go deep in the insights, and we created a campaign understanding that really what we call it is power in progress, is that the enabling the progress of Hispanics is only going to power the progress of America. Okay? And that is a pro for us, like we call it, that is a pro. Mm-hmm. And out of that, we created a campaign that is called Capitanes del Futuro, that is bringing the passion for soccer with the youth, with our brands, with the MLS, and providing youth with inspiration. Mm-hmm. We want to close that gap that youth really can get to whatever technical or professional jobs they want to get, and the only way to get there is if somebody that looks like them and comes with a similar background inspires them. So in there, we partner with We Are All Human, with Hispanic Star, and we partner with the MLS, and we partner with brands inside P&G like Gillette, Gain, that are brands that are really relevant in our Hispanic community, and we are helping inspire these kids, both female and male, to really look at not only the soccer player, but after one soccer player, there are 12 jobs in soccer, in sports. Mm-hmm. Like think about the general manager, the attorney, the medic, the salesperson, the merchandising. So that is one program that we have been invested a lot in the last years, and we will continue to invest.
And how do you expect that to impact the business in the years to come by developing these in-depth strategies that engage the community in such a way?
I was talking with Pepe earlier today. So one message, if I leave you with one message, is that when we work with Hispanic communities, it's not just what we call force for good. Yes, there's the charity, there's the force for good, that the corporate responsibility, but it is force for good and force for growth. Mm-hmm. So if the only way to ensure that this continues is really that this delivers growth to the brand and to the corporation. The more growth it delivers, the more the corporation is going to pour into it, because then it is a win-win for everybody if it will deliver both of them. I don't know, Pepe, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, so yes, absolutely, thank you. It is about force for growth, yes, and at the same time, we will be doing good jobs and good projects for our community. But it absolutely is doing well for everyone involved, because we take it very seriously that the funds that we invest, and when I say we, in this case I'm talking about Procter & Gamble, Walmart, and other corporate sponsors here, the funds that we invest at the end of the day come from our community. They don't come from the general budget. It's not that we print this money. So we owe it to that customer to make sure that we are investing those funds with organizations that are actually solving problems that keep people awake at night around the proverbial kitchen table, trying to figure out how to make things happen. So if we're not doing that, then we're missing the mark tremendously. So that's what we mean when we talk about force for growth. It has to provide growth, and then it kicks off the virtuous circle. It absolutely does.
I have a follow-up question to that. Have you encountered situations where your engagement strategies needed adaptation or modification when working with the different customer segments? To either.
So yes, absolutely. Things evolve. The community evolves. We've seen the data. It's a community that continues to grow, and I think one of the data pieces that we haven't seen, but it's there, it's a very innovative community. So in building these partnerships with NGOs, we seek to learn as to what are those new trends, where is the community going, what are they thinking of as the future. That allows us to innovate, because one thing that we have very clear is that we're not experts in the community. So therefore, we cannot profess to come down to a community and say, here's the solution to problem X. I am a social scientist. I propose that you find a social problem, a community problem anywhere in the world there's a population group, no matter where they are in the scale of whatever, that has already found a solution to that problem. So our task is to learn, listen, understand what solutions have already been created, and then help scale those out. So that's how we continuously pivot through these relationships of trust.
And Patricia, I know that you work with a lot of companies and brands to help engage the Hispanic community. What advice or key learnings can you share with other corporations that are here today that are looking to meaningfully engage with the Hispanic community?
Yeah, one thing I do want to add on you ask about the evolution of engagement and funding. I think there's a lot on the Chronicle of Philanthropy that there has been a decrease of funding, foundation dollars that are out there. So I think, again, that's why I'm saying that it's an imperative that we're sure that if we're advocating and we're in an influential role, if we can influence, is ensuring is our community getting the equitable dollars, if not and then some, that's needed, is a question that has to be asked and that needs to be addressed. So I just want to say that in terms of your question on like what are the best practices, I do, again, I think that it's looking at the community from a holistic approach, right? We're talking about basic needs, health challenges, but it's also making sure that folks that are in their careers, I think for many of us, if we've gotten a job, we got a bachelor's degree, you're in a job, like La Familia is like, you made it, ¿verdad? Like, but we got to keep going, right? We need to be on those boards. We need to be in those influential roles, those decision-making roles, so that we can get those dollars back in the community and support, right? Or be in those influential roles. And so I think the most effective partnerships that I've had that we've been working with, and I know other organizations like our peers, like Alpha, Prospanica, many other great organizations that are out there, it's the ones that have the commitment from leadership, right? So there's executive involvement, not just saying that they're going to do it, but they're involved with our organizations. They're coming out, they're speaking, they're part of roundtable conversations, whether it's our chief diversity officer roundtable that we have. And then their employees are not only graduating through our program, and that's it, but they're serving on consuls in the community, whether it's ASE, whether it's other community. We're really building leaders. And then that are actively just open to talk to a candidate, open to say, hey, we'll be open to meet with them, right? So I mentioned Mujeres de ASE, and I'll mention two examples. So Mujeres de ASE, our Latina leadership program that's been around for 15 years, addresses those 9 things from the left. I'm looking forward to reading about being authentic leader, about how do you effectively negotiate and influence and build your brand? How do you build that strategic network and go about it, right? And within less than a year of our graduates that complete the program, 80% receive a promotion and an increase of pay. And the increase of pay is imperative because Latinas on average are on the lowest end of the totem pole as it pertains to the wage gap, and yet making decisions, opening businesses faster than any of the demographics. So that's why Latina leadership programs are imperative. The second one, we just recently launched ALSA, which is an advanced leadership program with JPMC, 15 executive directors, a third that have been promoted with this year-long transformational leadership program. Again, it's about basic needs, holistic, but also making sure that holistic approach so that we're building the pipeline of leaders because there's only 4% of Latinos in executive level roles and 1% Latinas. We have to change that.
And I'll give this last question to either Monica or Pepe. What would you say to brands and businesses out there that are on the fence about making an investment or creating a community program, much like what Walmart and P&G? What advice would you give to those people in terms of the impact that it's had in the organization?
So what I'll say, and this is my personal dream, and you've seen the data, right? Mm-hmm. My dream is that Walmart, a company that has treated me and my family really well and has allowed me to do amazing things, continues to be thriving 100 years from today. And for that to happen, Walmart needs to win in the Latino market yesterday. Mm-hmm. And that goes not only through customer acquisition, but talent recruitment, talent retainment, and talent development to make sure that we have Latinos, Latinas, Latinx seated at every single table in the proverbial pyramid of Walmart. Yeah. If we can do that, we will win. And I think the data's there. If you're a corporation that sells in this market and you want to be thriving 100 years from today, and you're not looking at the Latino market in a holistic way, it's at your own peril, right? It really is.
And with that, we'll wrap this up. We have 5 seconds. We stopped early too. Look at us. All right.
Can I say one more thing since we have more time? Is one of the things that I love to say, and it's what we're experiencing today, or at least I personally, is I truly believe that dreams flourish when you cultivate them with comunidad. And it's happened in so many ways for me personally, but I think this is a comunidad that Claudia and her team has built that we need to cultivate, meaning connect with one another, reach out, engage, and make ourselves available, because that's the only way we're going to be able to move ahead together. So thank you.